Hey y'all, it's Sarah, the wine-loving bookworm, back with another book and wine review for your Monday night. Didn't get to it yesterday. I was watching the Kansas City Chiefs beat the 49ers last night, and I didn't have time earlier in the day and then went to bed. So, book review for Monday night tonight. Okay, so let's start with the wine. I saved it to open it because my favorite thing in the world is a good twist off cap for wine. This is so awesome now that they do this. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Love a good twist off. So I'll pour myself a glass. That probably sounds really loud on that video, I'm sure. I actually did a little investigation into this wine. It's Gioia, Pinot Grigio. It's Italian Pinot Grigio. I don't see where it says, just as product of Italy. So Italy's a big country, somewhere in there. And sorry, restart. I got this from a online wine club, and they mostly specialize in like little wineries, little boutique wineries. So this is something I couldn't really find a lot about it. They didn't seem to have like a website anywhere, which is weird, but whatever. There is a Pua Goya. That's not how you pronounce that, but I'm going with it. Means more joy in Italian. So who doesn't need any more joy, right? And the tasting notes, which I guess is the flavors of the wine, are lemon. I'm like, okay, lemon. Peach. Okay, peach. Wet stone. Wet. W-E-T stone. I made a picture of like a stone. Like, what? What does that mean? What's wet stone? I guess we're going to find out in a minute. Dry but fruity, high on fruit, moderate on earthy, and low on woody flavors. So let's give it a shot. Okay, hold on. That just tastes like a Pinot Grigio to me. I'm not getting wet stone, but would I know what wet stone tastes like? Nobody knows. It's pretty good. It's like a little acidic, a little more acidic than I like, but that's a decent Pinot Grigio for I think it was like $12. So Pio Goya, more joy. Bring on the more joy, right? Okay, so let's move on to the book. I read Stephen King's not new book. This was actually, I think, 2018 it came out, but it's based, a new HBO show is now, airing on HBO about it. It's called The Outsider. 2000, or did I say 2008? Did I say what day it was? Anyway, it's 2018, not 2008. Wow. So I had read The Institute by Stephen King, did a book review on that not too long ago, and didn't really like it. But I'm still a diehard Stephen King fan, and I'm always like hoping he's going to get that, amazing writing and storytelling like he used to have. He did do like 11/22/63, which is like kind of a reimagining of the JFK shootings, which was really, really good book. Super long, but really good book. But everything else I've read by him, I'm just kind of like, So a little bit about Stephen King. If you don't know who he is, you're just living under a rock. He is the king of horror, they call him. I would say he's a little bit more psychological thriller than horror, but we'll go with it. He's written 61 novels, in addition to 7 written under his pseudonym. I think it's in addition, Richard Bachman. He wrote 6 nonfiction novels and 200 short stories. So very prolific writer. I went and looked up the novels that he's written, and I've read 28 of them. So quite a few, but I could do better, right? My favorites are The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, It. I read It when I was 11, and I just freaking loved it. And it's like over 1,000 pages long, and I loved it. Always been a big reader. And then 11/22/63, like I was saying. I mean, but there's so many other ones. The Tommyknockers, Needful Things, Carrie, Christine, Salem's Lot, The Shining. The Green Mile was written by Stephen King. Some people don't know that. So anyway, great writer. And I'm going to try to knock off several more of his books now that I see the ones that were on the list. Okay, so let's get to the book. It's a long book. It's 560 pages. So, and it's, it's kind of like bigger, and the writing's kind of small. So this is a lot. This will take you a little bit to get through it. The basic plot is a well-liked member of Flint City, Oklahoma, not a real place. His name is Terry Maitland. He's also a Little League coach. Is accused of a brutal murder of a young boy in town. There are fingerprints, there are DNA evidence, there are eyewitnesses, they have him on video. It seems like a slam dunk, right? But there's undisputed evidence. He was also at a teacher's conference like hundreds of miles away at the exact moment this boy was being kidnapped and killed. Video, fingerprints. 4 of his fellow teachers were there with him. You know, he was at restaurants, he was at bars. So how can he be in 2 places at one time? I don't know. That's what the book's about. Ralph Anderson's a detective, and along with the prosecutor, Terry Maitland's defense attorney, and 2 private investigators, they're trying to figure this out. Like, how can he be in 2 places at one time? And they went through this big public, like, arrest and all this stuff because he's such a terrible guy. And then they start seeing these cracks in their case. But they're like, how do we have DNA and fingerprints and eyewitnesses? Although some of that starts to get a little dicey. And show him at a teacher conference, like hundreds of miles away. To me, this was a good throwback to like a classic Stephen King psychological thriller, blurring that line between reality and fantasy, which he does so well. If some of my favorite books, like It and The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, he does that masterfully, and he does that here really well. It's, you know, what I loved about his older books and what I really liked about this book. There are no real standout characters. Terry's daughter, Grace, was kind of an exception, and Stephen King does a lot of books and a lot of characters and perspectives from children's perspectives, which sometimes can make things a lot more spooky, because as an adult, you see something weird, and you're like, well, it could have been this, it could have been that. As a child, you're like, no, this is what happened. I'm not writing it off in my head, because you're not jaded, as adults are at that point. So it's creepier, you know. I was super gun shy, like I said, when I'm reading this book, because I've been disappointed in so many novels, but I really liked it. I mean, this is no like Shining, this is no It, this is no even Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. Those are just classics in my mind. But he mostly hits the mark with this book, and it's a throwback to his old style and his old way of storytelling. It's not too gory or graphic, but the subject matter is, you know, it's difficult. So if you don't like stuff like that, I mean, we're talking about a kid getting murdered, and, you know, some other stuff going on, maybe avoid it. If you're more into, like, you know, Nicholas Sparks, don't read this. But I mean, you kind of know that from Stephen King, right? And this isn't a terribly gory or graphic movie. This isn't a terribly gory or graphic book. So I want to watch the series, because I'm interested in how they would make this into a series, but I guess we'll see. I'm going to pick it up on HBO and see if I can get into it. If you are like a classic Stephen King fan like me, pick this up. You will like it. You will really like it. And I was kind of the whole time waiting for it to blow up and not be so good at the end, because sometimes that happens. And it's kind of why I don't give this like 5 stars. I'd give it like 4.5, because the ending was kind of like a little tiny bit anticlimactic, but I still really liked the whole thing. And it had a lot of just his classic moves in it and his classic storytelling vibes, which I loved. Although most of his old books took place in Maine, because that's where he's from, and this one takes place in Oklahoma City. Or no, it takes place in Oklahoma, Flint City. Goodness, it's been a long day. So that's a little bit different than his normal way, but really great book. So if you like Stephen King, his old stuff, you're going to like this book. The Outsider, not to be confused with The Outsiders. Oh, that's totally different. Pony Boy and all that, no, that's totally different. The Outsider by Stephen King. Okay, so next up, we are leaving for Vermont on Wednesday, and I'm going to be out till next Monday. So I'm not doing a book review. I'm just taking a week off. But when I come back, I will have book club when I come back on that Thursday. So our book choice is The Girl Who Wrote in Silk. See that? There's a little bit of a glare. By Kelly Estes. You know, I assume this was an Asian writer for some... Well, it is a lot of Asian characters. We'll see how Kelly Estes, who doesn't sound like she's Asian, but maybe she is. I don't know. Let's see if... She's definitely not. Let's see how she handles that. That's always interesting to me when people write about cultures that are not their own. So yeah, that is my book review for tonight. If you're a Stephen King fan, pick this up. You'll really like it, The Outsider. Gioia, whatever. More joy. Good Pinot Grigio, a little on the acidic side though. Let me try it one more time. Still not getting the whetstone. Don't know what that is, so don't know if I would be getting it anyway. Let's see if I can pick up the lemon and the peach. No. Okay, it just tastes like Pinot Grigio to me. I'm not that fancy. All right, guys. You guys have a great week, and I will see you in 2 weeks.
Cheers.